All right, we got it. We got it. We're gonna do it. It's gonna work.
Yeah, got it.
Get it up.
Hold up.
All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. I gotta like throw it up. Yeah, we're up. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're working on the first gen 4Runner again. In the last video, we finished up some stuff with the interior. I got most of that stuff put together, finished up seat panels for the rear seats, and got those thrown in the truck. I'm still waiting on a ton of components for the motor so we can get back to getting that thing back in the truck. I still have parts out in powder coat. The block is over at a machine shop. So I am basically out of parts in the garage to work on the motor, but that brings me to this. I pulled the old Hardshell Topper out of the yard. It's been sitting behind the garage under a tarp for a couple months. And today I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this thing up, bring it back to life a little bit, and get it painted. This thing's by no means perfect. It's made of fiberglass, as most of you know. There's one section on it that had a hole in it and someone attempted to patch it. Some of the little gutter rails above the windows are cracked and broken. Basically all of the trim around the windows is all rusted out and not in great condition. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the bare minimum and make this thing somewhat decent looking again. But end goal is to get a soft topper for the first gen. This thing was on the truck when I got it. I figured why not? I don't really have a whole lot of other stuff to work on, so that's what we're gonna do. So like I said, kind of doing the bare minimum here to bring this thing back to life. Got some paint brushes that were like $5, and then got my favorite paint, the Rust-Oleum Gloss Black. This stuff's like $16 a can. It goes super far. This is what I've used to paint like the whole underside of the first gen, the whole frame on the third gen, all of my armor, so bumpers, sliders, etc. I always use this stuff. It's oil based, it's brush on. It gives you a fairly thick coat with just like one application, and it seems to last pretty well. All in all, I spent maybe like $25. I did get a roll-on brush as well, just because I didn't know if you would be able to like see brush strokes, seeing as that this thing is so big. I'm normally painting little tubes, but yeah, fairly cheap. I'm gonna go ahead and use this old can that I had sitting around first, and I'm honestly just kind of freehanding it. I don't even think I'm gonna tape much off. None of the rubber is in great condition, so I'm gonna try to do my best to just avoid the window and do the bare minimum of work. So I did a bunch of cleaning off film. It's still not perfect, but it's fiberglass, so you don't really need to make the surface absolutely spotless to paint on it. I have a feeling doing brush on paint is going to take a long time.
Yeah, you should use a roller.
But I mean, this stuff's really sticky, so I feel like the roller is going to take forever also. I feel like this paint is also semi-cold. It really helps when it like heats up a little bit. Might have to set up a time lapse and give you a paintbrush. I bet this stuff will be a little bit easier. The top is just like fully exposed fiberglass and it's really porous, so let me try one over here just to see. That's way easier. It's funny, I'm gonna clean this thing up and then just get a soft topper, but then maybe this thing will be worth like $50
Yeah.
on Marketplace.
Just pay for the paint you used.
Yeah, I'm not really looking for like comfort in this truck, to be honest with you. There's no air conditioning.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'll get some air conditioning. Got a couple of coats on the topper. Looks a whole lot better than it did rotting behind my garage. So gonna go ahead and let this dry. Might end up coming out and doing another coat if it needs it. We'll see. It's the next day, topper is all dry. It definitely soaked in quite a bit of the paint, especially on the top where it was just kind of bare fiberglass. Probably could have benefited from sanding it down a little bit, but I'm just gonna go ahead and throw one more coat of paint on it, but I'm gonna use the roller this time in hopes that that first coat kind of worked like a base layer. And even if it's splotchy like this in the end, this is gonna be the top of the truck. Like I said, I'm not super concerned with super high quality on this thing. The sides of it were already painted and pretty smooth, so that took the paint much better. Looks a whole lot better than the top, but you can still see brush strokes. So I'm hoping that the roller will just kind of make everything semi-even. I think it'll work. I don't really have a paint tray, so I need to figure that out real quick, but I'm gonna throw another coat of paint on this thing, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. Already looks 100 times better with the roll-on brush, but it's still not dry, so it might look the exact same that it did when I started. The top is still relatively splotchy, but we're just gonna go ahead and live with that. You're never gonna see it until I'm all sideways and rolled over on my side, but the sides of the topper actually turned out pretty decent. The roll-on brush took away quite a bit of the brush strokes, so that's a plus. It was already painted on the side and the back, so it's actually relatively smooth. And decent looking, so pretty happy with that. Gonna go ahead and let this dry. While that is drying, I got these in the mail. These are the same little latching handles that I used on the gull wing of the 4Runner. I can show you guys here. Same deal, they're locking, and they are just little latches for the panel. I am going to use these to hold on my little cubby panels in the back of the truck. So the idea is I'm gonna put these little feet off of the bottom, one on either side, and then that will kind of settle down into the bottom like that. And then we'll use the lever at the top to kind of clip it and hold it in place. At least that's the idea. These things are relatively cheap. They're like 15 bucks for a pair on Amazon, and they come with keys and are lockable. Don't really know that I need to have these lockable, but they are. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure out a couple holes. I need to cut one in this panel, one in that panel, and see if this works. So got my panels made up. I got the little latch inlaid into the panel, used an angle grinder to do the two biggest cuts, used the Dremel to do the small ones. These things have a little rubber gasket around them, so they're waterproof. No need to be waterproof, but everyone that says my gull wing leaks on the 3rd gen, I swear to God it doesn't. You guys are crazy. But anyways, I used skateboard hardware on the bottom here to mount these two little tabs. So some indie hardware. If you know, you know. It's kind of a cool little component. If I wouldn't have told you guys, most people would probably never know these are from a skateboard. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and try to throw them in the truck, see if they latch into place. My garage is an absolute mess, so I'm going to just work around all this junk. Mess with it a little bit off camera. Got the panels in the truck. Got the keys all figured out. Everything's unlocked. And they work. My idea has come to life. I think they look really good. It kind of matches the overall aluminum deal I got going on here in the back of the truck. But yeah, they work great. The only downfall is where the little arm latches in the back is barely hitting the panel up here. So I think I'm going to cut out some little half moons and just self-tap them in there so there's a little bit more surface area so the latch can grab on. But yeah. like how I painted red over the rusty spots?
I'm gonna get under here. Turtle shell.
You think you got that? All right, I'll film you if you go ahead and throw it on the truck.
Well, how do I know what's the best way of going about that?
I don't think that's happening.
Why would you push it towards me? I gotta...
Oh, I didn't know.
Boom.
You knew we could do it.
All right, we did it. We got the topper on. This thing looks so much better than the day we brought it home. It's actually insane. It's still a little rough around the edges. I knew it would never be perfect, but this is like bare minimum effort on the scale of restoring a truck. So pretty stoked on how it looks with the topper on it. Like I said, I'm planning on getting a soft topper, but this will do for the meantime. Probably will end up putting some like Amazon rubber sealing around everything just to make it semi-watertight. I still need to go and get new hardware all the way around to get the topper mounted. When I brought it home originally, it had like 3 bolts holding the topper on, and I'm assuming he drove it around like that, so kind of insane that it even stayed on the truck like that. All right, it started raining on me, so went ahead and pushed the truck back in the garage. Next up on my list is I need to make these little tabs so my latch actually hits something when I put these panels on. These don't need to be super structural or very strong at all, really, so I am going to use this little 20 gauge piece of steel I had laying around and basically cut out a couple half moons. I will wrap this with some rubber edging so it's nice and safe, and then drill a couple holes and then throw one on each side. Also, I've been running out of space to work in the garage, so I took a minute to kind of rearrange some things and cooked up a little temporary table over here in the corner. So I have a little bit more room to work with, especially getting all this motor stuff figured out. Just gives me a little bit more space in the garage, and now I can still park in here. But yeah, gonna go ahead and draw these little half moons up, get these things cut out, and get them thrown in.